All right, guys, welcome back to another video. It's your man Jay. So today we're going to be looking at the Pixel 7a. I've completed a full 5 days. I'm actually on day 6, I believe it is, or possibly day 7. But I've completed a full 5 days of this device, and I wanted to go ahead and give you a follow-up, a 5-day follow-up with this phone because there's a lot to discuss, but it doesn't have to take too long. So the first thing I want to talk about is the battery life on this thing. The battery life on here, this has just over a 4,300 milliamp hour battery inside, and the battery life is great. You should be able to go ahead and maintain at least getting a day and a half to 2 days if you are somewhat of a heavy user. But those out there who are not really heavy users, you could probably go 3 days to maybe 5 days, possibly, if you're somewhat of a light user. Yeah, you'd be able to get some good standby time out of this device. I would highly recommend it if you're looking for a phone that's going to push down some great battery life. So with the flip side of that is, the adaptive charging when it comes on, it's on by default. And I wanted to go to this screen because adaptive charging, it says it right there. Extend lifespan of by charging steadily during longer charging periods, activating the base. Is more to me. I say if you're in a hurry, turn that off because you're going to be capped at about 11 to 14 watts of charging. So if you don't care about getting your phone charged very quickly and getting a boost so you can get on the go, leave this turned on. So for me, I don't know how long I'm going to have this phone. You know what I mean? Obviously, I don't plan on getting rid of it. I still have my 4A, 5A, and 4A, 5A, 6A. Yeah, I've got the 4A, 5A, 6A. Don't plan on ditching them. But, this device right here being new to Google's ecosystem, I don't like that they turn this on by default. Like this is on by default. So if you don't know to go in here and go to adaptive preferences and turn that off if you want the fastest charging possible, you wouldn't know that. Most consumers won't know to do that. But as a tech enthusiast, you go in and you turn that off, and then your speeds will increase for charging. Because if you leave this on, it's gonna possibly take the phone. It's taking this phone almost 2 hours to charge, but it's doing what it's supposed to do. So if you don't want that on, turn off adaptive charging, and then your phone will charge a little bit faster. And I use a digital reader to get those numbers. With adaptive charging on, it'll take you almost 2 hours from 5 to 10%, at least in my testing. And then it peaked out at maybe 14 watts, and it got as low as 11 watts. But other than that, battery's phenomenal. I think you'll probably enjoy this phone for battery life. You will go through a day or more with. I would think most people can make it through a day or more, but you have to play around because battery life always depends on the user. It depends on the apps that you have on your phone. I don't have that. I have lots of apps, but not as many as most people. But it depends on what you have on your display and how you're using it. If you have widgets, all these different things, so that determines what kind of battery life you're going to get. So next, I want to talk about the screen and the speaker quality. So let's look at the screen. I'm just going to scan forward a little bit here. I got the screen at peak brightness. I've got it kind of tilted at an angle so you can kind of get the best look here because the light is so bright like that. So, but the display is beautiful, folks. I mean, it's a 6.1 inch 90 hertz display. It's 1080p by 1080 by 2400. So it's a really beautiful display. Now, it may not be as bright as some others, but it is definitely bright, and you will be able to tell the difference depending on which device you're using. Let's take a quick listen at the speakers real quick. They are stereo speakers, and it's really good. 29 pixels per inch. You still got the 20 by 9 aspect ratio. You have a scratch resistant Corning Gorilla Glass 3 on here now. Yes, this is still Corning Gorilla Glass 3. Yeah, so the display itself is beautiful. I don't think it's going to disappoint many people. The bezels are nicely uniformed. That means something to some people. The fact I have to point that out in 2023. Some people really feel like the bezels should be equal around or super thin. I guess I'm kind of over that at this point. I just want a good quality display and a nice, beautiful looking device and a really, just a really solid screen. And this one is on point with nearly everything out there, just about. With it not having any kind of special peak brightness like the 7 and 7 Pro, it does well. So I would say to a person, if screen is your thing and you're really hoping, and you saw I had the phone up at full brightness right there. This is kind of normally where it's at. I also keep it on auto brightness, and this is about where it's at for me. I like having it like this. It's really good, and it auto adjusts the brightness. So with a beautiful screen, you need a good battery, and those two couple together very well. Now this is running the Tensor G2 chip, so performance on here is going to be what you think it is. It should perform fairly well. I mean, for day-to-day tasks, I haven't seen any kind of failures or nothing. I don't foresee having too many issues with this. It is stock Android. It is something that I think a lot of people would enjoy if it's your first experience with oh, shout out to Night Takes Wife. With Android, you want to have the best run when it comes to performance, and you need a chip to back that up. So with that big screen, with that more 90 hertz powerful display, with that nice size battery, the G2 chip has to perform well. I said it initially when they brought out the first Tensor chip. If the chip fails, the phone's going to fail. And in the Pixel 6, they had all those issues, and now by the next generation here, the rotations coming through with the G2, everything seems to be worked out. This phone performs at its best, man. I mean, I haven't had any issues with crashes, concerns. I do have an issue sometimes with the YouTube app. Sometimes the YouTube app won't open, and that's something that's going to have to come aboard probably with the software update or something like that. But I mean, nonetheless, I think it's going to be fine. I don't foresee having any real major issues with this chip at all. So the performance, I mean, is phenomenal. You've got some of the main things out of the way. You've got great battery. You've got a beautiful display. And the screen is good, and then the performance has to be there. The chip set has to be right. So with that, most people obviously look to Google for their cameras, and I shot a video. I didn't put it out there though, because I posted a few things online. This is a video that I took. I was at the RHAP Music Fest. We go every year, and this is low light with the Pixel 7a. This is beautiful. It's completely dark in the room, and the only lights obviously is the ones that they got on stage. This is a beautiful, beautiful camera in low light. It is just a beast. So, and I took a lot of photos. I posted the photos online. I didn't post the video, but the camera performs phenomenal in low light. I mean, we all know that the Pixels are going to have some of the best photos, but video, they have completely did a 360 because some people really frowned on them for video, and the video is on par now. They have 4K 60 recording. No, 8K isn't a thing, but that's okay. I mean, now the one downside of this phone for me is no cinematic video. I was really hoping that they would bring cinematic video to this device, but I understand why they didn't. They didn't because then they start to compete with themselves. Most people probably will start to frown on the other devices. They'll feel like they got cheated. If they spent a bunch of money on the 7 Pro and the 7, and then this device comes out, and this is going to start going on sale more than likely. And, you have all the functionality of their so-called flagships, when in fact, this for sure is a flagship. So you do have HDR recording on here. And again, that's why I think it's so strange. They put everything in there just about. You have HDR recording, you have enhanced speech, everything. It's all there. And I think I made a blunder in the first initial unboxing of this about the 7 and 7 Pro not having long exposure. It does have a long exposure. What they've done is they just made it as a main function over here out in the open with this phone because it probably doesn't have the cinematic video. So my fault for that if I put that out there incorrectly. But nonetheless, the cameras on here are what you want them to be. They are phenomenal. And one thing I would like to point out, you guys were asking for the results of the previous video that I did where I put up a quick snippet of the 7A versus the 7 and some photos and video. Well, a lot of you guys chose the 7A. And I'll do a full comparison of the 7A at some point, but I haven't even gotten a 7A camera video out, which I always do those. But you guys were choosing the 7A, just so you know. So all the experts that thought they were people were just saying the 7 just to say the 7, probably because that's what they have and don't have this one. I think a lot of people really get offended when companies bring out something so close to what they paid for and it costs less and it's doing the same thing. Well, it's no surprise. I said that about the 6A, the 5. All these other cameras take the same photos. Some things might be slightly different, but in my testing, the 7A has a much better front camera than the 7 as well. And then you guys were choosing the camera, the 7A for the favorite shots. Camera A was the 7A. Sadly, you got duped again. But nonetheless, that's a positive thing because people who buy the 7A that don't have the 7, I think they're going to find that the front camera is absolutely beautiful. And the rear camera does extremely well as well, coming in at 64 megapixel count. So nonetheless, let's move on to hardware. Now, this is where I think people really like this phone, is being able to get some different color options. Now, the bar and everything on here. Now, remember, this phone isn't a replacement for the 7A. It's a replacement for the 6A. And the number schemes that Google brings out, they just really got to, these companies got to, not just Google, every company, you got to make sure it's clear to consumers. But the bar here is really nice. And what they've done with this, they've pretty much made it look like the current 7 lineup. Because the 8 lineup should be coming out this summer or, soon, I guess. I don't know, later in the year. But this is basically the same body. It's just a different color, and it is beautiful. They did remove or move the antenna lines on here, which I think is pretty good. Reception on this phone is really good. I'll talk about that last. But this is a beautiful body. The coral color is actually really beautiful. Might get that from my lady, my wife, at some point. But she really likes this phone right here. Her daily driver is this right here, the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. She also has every other phone I have, and she's Z Flipped. She really likes this phone right now. So I mean, that's why I didn't bother jumping out there and grabbing it so quickly. But that's her current daily driver. I think I might grab her that coral. But fellas, this blue is beautiful in person, man. And here's a comparison. I was going to do it before, but my 14 Plus is in the other room because that is one of my daily drivers too. But this is the difference in color. It's coming across on the camera here. And now this is matte and this is gloss, but this is the Ultra in blue. And I do have my, I'll grab this right here. It's inside of this case here, but I'm not going to take all these cases out. But nonetheless, this blue is beautiful, folks. The hardware on here is beautiful. It's nothing more than the current lineup in different colors. It's beautiful. I really like this blue. I have no regrets. Yeah, none whatsoever. So price is always controversial when it comes to products. Some people really get caught up in their head about the price. Let me just say this. This is a total game changer for $499. Just like the 6A was a game changer for $499, this phone is no exception. Google knows exactly what they're doing by bringing out these products at these price points. They know what they're doing, and they don't need our help. We control the market by what we buy, but in some situations, it's just a solid purchase. This phone also will more than likely go on sale. I've got links down below to purchase directly from Best Buy. You can get $50 gift card with that one, or you can still, I think at the recording of this video, you can still get the free buds through Google and the free case. But I suggest you grab this phone while you can. It's really solid. Even at $499, obviously when something goes on sale, if you bought it before the sale, you're always sometimes going to feel some type of way. However, we know that when you jump out there first, you pay the higher premium sometimes just to get it first. I mean, and then later on, when they need to move some units, they'll start to decrease the price and have promos and things like that. But other than that, this is a phenomenal device for the price. $499 is a fair price, I say. Now, I've been using this only on T-Mobile. I will test it. I got some new SIM cards coming in. I got another line I'm starting here. Shout out to EIOT for sending that out to me. I will give you a separate video on that. And I'm going to start using that with this device going forward. So network on here with T-Mobile has been great. It is unlocked. This is the unlocked version. So I don't believe it's on carrier. I think it might be on carriers. It's going to carriers. It's going to be on carriers. T-Mobile is going to grab this for sure later this month. So T-Mobile's also picking up the Fold and this device. I think June 20th, I believe, is when you start to see the sales of the Fold in other places. I think Google might have just wanted to grab as many sales as they could first. I believe June 20th is when you'll start to see the sales in other places. But nonetheless, like Best Buy and other retailers. So network on here, though, has been great. No issues whatsoever. Call quality is great. You just pop your SIM card in there and the one you're going to use. Now, there's lots of things on here that I didn't talk about, like the wireless charging. The 90 hertz display is something that they've added. It has IP67 stereo speakers. This is a lot going on with the phone itself. There's a lot to offer for the price. And I think that you need to do your own research on whether or not, you always should be doing your own research whether or not you think you should buy something. But overall, folks, this is offering all that flagships offer today, just at a lower price. So if you're interested in the 7A, there are links down below so you can grab yours. You can get a great deal on it, I believe, now with either choice you make. But this is, in fact, to me, just another flagship from Google. And it's like they're building a flagship portfolio going forward. We put the labels on things, they put the labels on things, but when you look at the specs hand in hand and you break it down, this is just another flagship coming from Google. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. Stay tuned for official camera review on this, and I'll bring you more content on it, obviously, down the line. But the 5-day follow-up, it is complete. This phone is for sure a major win. Just remember to go into settings when you get yours. If you want it to charge faster, go into battery, go into adaptive preferences, and turn off adaptive charging. And you will see the speeds increase, and your time for charging should drop from about 2 hours down to about an hour or maybe a little over an hour. It's your man Jay. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'll see you in the next one. Take care.